Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs.
Everybody, welcome to episode 130, The Power of Allowing Things to Fall Away. As you notice, if you look out your window right now, you'll see leaves either falling away, or if you're in Florida like I am, you'll see them change in different colors. And that's a sign. If we look into nature, nature's always teaching us. It's always giving us these different insights on how the laws of the universe are going to work. We know that next spring, beautiful leaves will come back again. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how this applies to your life and how you can trust the process, trust the laws of the universe, to where you could create an exponential life even when winter comes and the energy starts to die down. I hope everybody enjoys the show.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about the power of allowing. And this is the perfect episode to go with the season of autumn and fall. So I think this is something to think about when we're doing anything in our life.
It is, and it's the power of allowing things to fall away. So if you look outside right now and you look at the leaves, I'm looking out the window right now. Here in Florida, it's different than if you're up north, but you can see how the leaves are starting to change. And some places, wherever you're at, the leaves are starting to fall off the tree. So it started with something back in spring that was so beautiful. It was green or pink or whatever color the leaves were, right? And then it starts to turn. And then something that's so beautiful starts to slowly transition to where it slowly dies down, and then it falls off. And if the tree would always try to go back and chase all of these leaves, then the next season it wouldn't be able to produce more beautiful leaves.
It's a good example of that. I know, and sometimes it's not fun when things fall away, but
so that's the reason why we chose this podcast episode, right? Because we were kind of thinking of this metaphor here.
And I think sometimes people get those winter blues too when it comes up, when everything has done falling from the autumn. But it's important to trust the process, and it's not always fun. And I found a quote online, and it said, "To let go doesn't mean to get rid of. To let go means to let be." So this means in any relationship or business venture that you're dealing with, or lack of motivation. You know, sometimes we get excited about one topic and we're trying to push it, and then it doesn't work well. And sometimes just letting go can allow that process to unfold in the right time.
Exactly, and I think it goes with what you just said. It's trusting this process, trusting the laws of nature. Just how that tree, next year we know it's going to produce more beautiful leaves. Well, next year, the next season, you're going to produce more beautiful friends. You're going to produce better business. You're going to produce greater relationship with your wife or husband, if you allow, like Lindsay's saying.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I want you to think about too when you're hearing this, is sometimes there are, they say there's seasons for everything. Sometimes there's moments where you do have to go inward, and then other things blossom and nourish. So I think that's important to think of too. It's kind of like a rubber band. When you think of a rubber band and you allow the rubber band to kind of stretch out, automatically when you stretch out away from that center piece, you'll come back stronger, and it will just have this strength that maybe you didn't know it had when it was just staying still. So sometimes stretching out, it will kind of propel everything to come back together even stronger and faster. So trusting that process of everything that you've built up to the point of letting go. And I think that's important.
Yeah, it's so important. And it's about appreciating what's in front of you right now, because it's so easy. Like when this process is happening, it's so easy to feel all the pain and all of that and the sadness, because it is sad when things fall away, right? Especially when it's something that's so beautiful to us. And when it starts to fall away, it's so easy to get caught up in the fears and the pain. And what if it doesn't happen? Say it's a significant other, your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband. You're like, well, what if I never get married again? Or say it's a friend. What if I never find a friend like that? Or it's a career. Like when I left teaching, I could have, I had some fears. And when I left, I was thinking, what if I don't have the same joy in the next thing that I do? Or what if I can't produce the same success as the next in the next venture? And it's one of those things that when we trust the process and we tune into our instincts and we just follow that, yeah, we're still gonna feel the pain. Yeah, we're still gonna go through all of the seasons of life. But if we go back to what you're saying at the beginning of this, is trusting this entire process, then it makes it more bearable. And I think that's the point of why we're making this episode, is to remind you to trust this process.
And it may not be on your time. So that's the big thing. It might not be on the time that you want. But if you really look at the patterns in your life and you go back to all the patterns of significant events, think of it like a timeline, the main points on that timeline, you always got through that moment, whatever it was. And a lot of the stuff actually comes full circle in a different way. So maybe it's business ideas that you had before that fell away, you let go of, and they came back at the right point. Maybe it was friendships and they came back at the right point. Maybe it was like me, my desire to, go for walks. That went away for a little bit. I kind of let go of the idea of like forcing things when I didn't feel it. And then I had that burst of energy come back up. When you're thinking about the things that are happening in your life and you want to hold on to them with a tight grip, that's when it doesn't work, when you're holding on with a tight grip. And I'm thinking of the one time Tony, he was leaving the house one day and I was saying, wait, so what time are you coming home? When are you going to be back? Where are you going? And, we have that conversation anyways, but it was the way that I was saying it. And he looked at me, he's like, he was going to play like tennis, I think at the time, or doing something outside active. And I just didn't want to worry about him and know what time he was coming back. And he said, can you please just don't clip my wings? And I started laughing.
She made it sound a lot funnier than what it really
Tony,
was.
That's exactly how you said it. And it was funny and
that's
was
how I felt
cute.
at the time.
Well, it was better than saying it in an abrupt way, like, okay,
like
get
I've
off
done
my
before.
back.
I've done that a lot in the past. Yeah. I learned not to do that, to be abrupt with her. Well, it happens sometimes still.
But that phrase, like, please just don't clip my wings, it really stuck with me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to let him be like a free little bird and not be so much like, on him about worrying about him. And so that kind of really makes me think about letting go, like trusting that process and not being so scared in whatever it is that you're doing, is letting that process happen. And I think it comes back to anxiety, fear, anything like that when we try to grip onto something because we don't want to lose it.
Right. So you brought up different business ideas too. I think that's a big one because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch the show. Yes. And it's like we get this inspired idea until we're like, this is it. And we feel it. And then we start to do it. And we realize, yeah, this was it for this time. But now it's time to move on. So it makes me think of my first program I created, M3.
Yeah.
Using music, movement, and mindset development to create certainty in your body. And that was the online course that I had. And it was amazing because I was so inspired when I made it. And I got the idea when I was out playing basketball. And it was just this moment of like, wow, I know that's the universe talking to me. And I could have held on to that because going back to that moment, I knew the universe told me about this. But that was just for that time. And I still use, and that's the thing, if you let a business thing go, you could still, even if you let it go away like I did with M3, you could still use like the different, it still builds on each other.
Right, it does.
So like I'm still using the same philosophy and everything else that I'm doing. It's just I didn't get caught up and stuck on that idea of M3. It got stale for me personally. And I had to move on. And then I created the Impasse Blueprint. And then we started to do masterminds. And then I started to dive into one-on-one coaching and retreats. And all of these beautiful things would not have happened if I was so stuck on just doing the first thing that I thought was what I was supposed to be doing with my business.
I love that. And all of those philosophies that are in M3 are sprinkled in everything else that you do. That's how you live your life. So it's going to be there no matter what.
Exactly.
It's just you're not locked into
the idea,
stuck into the idea of keeping that program when you know that there is bigger expansion to take place. So that's really powerful. So I think that's important to think about too, is what things are you holding on to and trying to force right now that maybe you need to take a step back and let go a little bit. Let go of like loosen the grip that you have and allow things to unfold naturally. This is the perfect time for that, for you to trust that process. And when you get into winter time, it's going to be very easy to get into a state of depression or thinking that you're missing something or you're not doing something, but sometimes that's a time of hibernation and recharge. And we'll talk more about that in winter time. We'll get into a podcast episode about that. But I think it's important to know what's ahead, because this is going to come full circle.
It's anticipating. So it's that's why we're sharing this with you now, because winter is coming. So while the energy's high now, or higher than what it's going to be when winter happens, it's time to make these commitments to what are you going to do over the next 90 days? What kind of support systems are you going to put around what you're doing? What kind of masterminds are you going to join? I know we have a mastermind coming up in January.
Yes.
I'm so excited about it, and it's for psychic mediums who want to increase their business, who want to increase their life.
And healers, any kind of healer that's, someone that's in the spiritual business, that realm, the entrepreneurs, this is for you. This is another topic that we need to talk about is during the fall, this is a time for you to set up those things, like you just said, the masterminds, the workshops, the mentors. Find those now so that when it comes to winter, you're not in a state of, oh my gosh, I'm not doing something, I'm missing something. You already have it set up while you're on a high with this energy. Before you go into, that space of darkness where you can hibernate, but you have the tools to do it in. And maybe you're hibernating against the collective, but you have a small group to work with where you can start plugging away so that you're getting ready for that next thing, which is spring, which is a huge time for everything to bloom. So you have to have things set up. And this is just like the farmers, with the harvesting. They, pay attention, they collect the crops. Like, this is the time to think about what is it that you want to do? What is your vision over the next few months that you want to happen? You have to take action steps, and that's now. Right.
So we call this front loading when we're working with our clients. It's over the next 90 days, how can you front load? Meaning, for example, if you're looking for nutrition, maybe you could do meal prep. If you're looking for, physical exercise and all that, and say maybe you're not somebody that likes to go to the gym, or that if you do buy a gym membership you're not going to go anyways, maybe instead of doing that, hire a personal trainer that meets you at your house, or hire a personal trainer that is going to be committed to meeting you somewhere, to where every Monday, Wednesday, Friday you're going to be there. It's on the calendar. It's kind of like what you were doing with Pilates.
Yeah.
And you could do this with your business, you could do this with your marriage, you can do this with anything. You think forward 90 days and you think, how can I set up right now to where I got accountability strategies set in place to where I know no matter what, even when the winter energy starts to get low and I start to fall into this low vibe, I know the process. I know I'm going to stick with the personal trainer. I'm going to do the meal prep. I'm going to do this for my business.
Exactly. And I think this is something to think about. If you have to pause this video or pause this podcast, the audio on iTunes, start writing down what your vision is. Sometimes we think our vision is so far away, but actually it's closer than we think. There's a lot of times where we make it harder for ourselves. We think, oh yeah, I'm going to do this later. I don't know when, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know it's going to be later. And then there's a lot of times where you try to contact everyone else. Do you think this is going to happen? Do you think I'm going to finish the book? And I can give that example because that's what I used to say. When am I going to finish my book?
Oh, you said that over and over for years.
Oh my gosh, it was repetitive.
I got sick of hearing it. I was like, whenever you write it, that's when you'll finish
it. So it's important to think about like what baby steps are you taking, and sometimes we don't know what steps to take. So that means you hire the expert.
Right, and then, a lot of times we set these crazy goals and we get overwhelmed. So think about the next 25 years of your life. If you're thinking about that and you're on this big mission, well, the next 90 days is only 1% of the next 25 years of your life. So in these next 90 days, what are 1 to 3 things that you really want to accomplish that if you do this, it's going to exponentially impact every area of your life. So if you're not already working out or you have exercise, that's an easy thing to do. That could be the one thing that you focus on. Keep doing everything else you're doing if it's working, and focus on working out. I'm going to really focus on working out over these next 90 days over this next 1% of the 25 years so that I could have this exponential impact in my business and my relationships and everything that I do.
Yes, I like that example too.
I think it's another thing too is not trying to recreate the past. So like maybe you had a time in your life in the past to where everything was going awesome. And then now maybe you hit a funk to where you keep thinking back to that good time and you're trying to recreate that specifically how it is. The thing is, it'll never be just how it was because it's not that time. So it's like what Lindsay was saying at the beginning, to allow this process to happen to where you could allow other better things to come into your life. Because when we're grasping and we're trying to recreate, well, we're blocking out what's right in front of us and what's going to be here next week too.
It's so true. That's where a lot of the pain comes in, is from trying to recreate that past. So, all right, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Share some insights below and let us know what came up for you after listening to the episode. See you guys next time. And don't forget, if you are a psychic medium or healer and you're interested in our 90-day business mastermind, there are 5 spots. We're only taking 5 people. So if you are interested, send an email to lindsay@lindsaymarino.com to get your application. Bye, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.